Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is your girl, Miss Honey, here with Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 12, episode, I don't know. The episode is called A Hairy Situation. I have got to also do Power tonight. I'm going to drop that right after this video. And then I've got a lovely surprise for all my beautiful honeybees, all my new honeybees. Oh, I hope you guys enjoy that. But of course, as always, if you are not subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you hit that subscription bell as well as the notification bell. I'd also love to have you hit that thumbs up. Everybody knows that's like saying, what's up? Hey, Miss Honey. And of course, comment down below. So, this episode was a lot. But for me, it seemed kind of short. I was 7 minutes late to the episode. So we're going to go person by person. That way I don't miss anything. Just talking about events and trying to move from scene to scene. So first I want to talk about who I really consider to be the MVP of this episode, and that's Portia. Portia, for me, has slowly become one of my favorite people on the show. Everything that's going on with her out in the tabloids and the vlogs and all of that stuff, it kind of saddens me because I want her to have this life that she so desperately wants, which is a husband and child and just the family and just, this sort of pseudo balance. It's different for each person, each family, each couple, but that which she wants for herself, I desperately want her to have that for herself as well. And so I'm always praying for Portia and Dennis. And we see where after Portia had met with all the ladies at the spa, Jeju Spa, which is here in Duluth, in Georgia. Duluth is a suburb of Atlanta. So amazing, amazing spa. If you're ever in Atlanta, check out Jeju. So they're there getting a foot massage and a lot of stuff went on, but we're going to talk about that. But then we see where Portia and her sister Lauren go over to her mom, Miss Diane's house. And when they get there, it's just this conversation about Pilar and all about Pilar and the sisters and the mom and their ranking now that they both have children. When you have kids, when your parents first see you, you don't have kids, they're like, hey Liz, how are you? When you have kids, let's say your kid's name, my niece and nephew's name is Brittany, Brandon, they come in, everybody's like, Brittany, Brandon, and my sister's kind of forgotten about. So Portia's experiencing this. It's a good moment, and of course she lets on about the fact that Dennis came to Canada and that he sort of re-solidified their engagement. And there is some hesitation between Miss Diane and Lauren as it pertains to Dennis. They want Portia to pump her brakes. They want her to really kind of just slow down from this, second meeting with the therapist, and you just like going full on into this whole thing, like you've accepted it and you're ready to move on, like you want to get back. But Portia keeps reiterating she gets it, she understands, but she does love him and she does want her family back. And so she does bring up the fact that they've blocked him. He's tried, even if he does want to apologize to them, which he does, and that's what this whole get up is kind of about, is that she realizes and Dennis realizes that he needs to come to them as well and talk to them. But it's a little bit difficult because they have her blocked. Mom is like, I had him blocked. He not blocked now. He not blocked at this moment. I cannot promise about future blockings because I could possibly block his arse in the future. But right now, currently, presently, he is not blocked. now will be a good time for him to go ahead and try to hit me up. And Lauren is like, well, I ain't heard nothing from him. You know what I'm saying? I can't unblock that which I have not spoken with. So, So they're gonna have this dinner, and we see where Portia and Dennis get together, and they're talking prior to her mom and Lauren arriving. He lets on that his mom is coming too, and she's kind of thrown off a little bit. In the confessional, she lets us know his mom has not reached out to her at all during this whole thing. Now, I know a lot of people feel like blah blah blah, yada yada yada, like maybe it's archaic, like why does he have to go to her mom and her sister? I think this is important. I think in today's age, we tend to just move on. We tend to just get over it. We make this big kerfluffle, and then it's just like, oh, whatever happened with so and so. Oh, girl, yeah, we back together and we move on. No, no, no. She's not just trying to be dramatic. She is serious. You hurt me, which hurt my family, and they're not just gonna just accept you back in. And that's how it typically is. But for the most part, we don't talk about it. We don't discuss it unless we doing it behind each other's back. I don't think they need to do that. I think they need to just spit it out. I think he needs to spit out what it is he needs to say. I think he needs to accept those little darts and those little daggers that come at him because of what he did. You have to accept those things and, understand that you didn't just hurt Portia. You hurt your daughter in the long run. You hurt her family in the long run, and they had accepted you in. And now they're supposed to just get over it. No, you have to be accountable. I think it's worth saying. I think it's worth doing. I don't think it's archaic, and I don't think it's boring. This is how mature adults will carry themselves when they really, really want to make amends. Instead of you just glossing it over, act like it never happened, we just wiping it from the memory books. I want us to mark time as to how these woundings happen. Okay? And I would expect the same thing from Portia if it was vice versa. So her mom and Lauren get there, and they all sit down and they talk, and the baby's there, and his Mama Dennis, has the baby, and he begins to apologize. He does now, instead of saying I was selfish, he does now admit out loud about his infidelity, and he apologized for it, and he just says that he wants his family. But I'm sorry to you guys, but when I want to call and talk to my daughter, you guys have got me blocked. No, just say, please, can you now unblock me? Because I want to talk to my daughters. Like, my daughter, don't say, but, because you're saying I did something wrong, but you guys doing something wrong too. That's not what we're here for. We're here to make completely amends. So, I think he could have handled it differently, but Portia jumped in again. She is my MVP for this episode. Like, she jumped in and she said, ho down. She not only defended herself, and her hurt feelings and why she feels like it's valid. She defended the fact, that her family blocked him. You didn't just hurt me. You hurt them too. And they're going to always stand for me. They're always going to ride for me, just like your mama ride for you. Okay? I haven't heard from your mother. Okay? Now, by this time, the mama had gone on out. And Portia stood her ground. And she was very, very articulate about what she was feeling, what her family was feeling, and how he needed to pump his brakes and understand. Okay? It's not just me. It's about your daughter. It's about your mother-in-law, your sister-in-law. Like, we all are rooting for you, and we can't have this. You have to make a decision because you keep dragging us both, all of us, in this weird space. Now, I feel like I kind of wavered last week when I was just like all of this mess about Dennis sitting down at the table. I'm gonna continue to hold on to my faith about Dennis, because I just want to believe that Dennis is doing what's right. At the end of the day, it's Dennis's to muck up. It's Dennis's family to lose, okay? And you end up out there with a scallywag, and broke, and hemmed up somewhere with a destroyed reputation, and nobody even wants to mention your name again, you have nobody to blame but yourself. But I'm believing in faith that Dennis is a different person, no matter what we hear on present day social media. So his mom comes back in, and she begins to kind of, jump into the conversation, and he stops her and just lets her know some of the concerns that Portia had about her not reaching out. And so I, you know, I was glad that Portia didn't back down from it. I was glad that Portia reiterated, and she said, I felt like you weren't here for me. You were here for him. And I don't know, that's just made me feel like, you were siding with Dennis in the situation. And the Mama Dennis just let Portia and her family know that she chewed him out every day about his infidelity and about what he had messed up, and the fact that he needed to get his ish together and stop being so immature. And Portia was like, I can appreciate that. She said, Mama Dennis also said, the situation was so tenuous, she didn't know how to approach Portia about it. And I could respect that. I could understand that. Here we have mature dialogue, open, transparent dialogue. There is compromise in the conversation. There is openness in the hearing and the listening of what is being exchanged. You know what I mean? Like this is conversation. This is open dialogue. This is what it's about. And for me, it's a very proud moment. And when Portia just kind of said in front of everybody, this is what we want to do. We want to really, really, really work on this thing. We've had this situation happen, which was terrible for all of us. We've, re-solidified our engagement. This feels different for us now. And as hurt and as broken as I was for myself and for my family, this is what I want to do. I want to really, really fight. And she got emotional. She started crying, and Dennis started crying. And it's just, it's a good moment. It was a good moment. I say shame on anybody who says this was boring. I just don't feel like it was boring at all. I felt like this is what mature, normal people do. We fall down, but we get up, right? So that's pretty much Portia. Then we have Candy. Candy was at the Jeju with the girls, and she was mom. Portia kind of brought up the fact that Kenya was hinting at somebody about having a man that was cheating. She thought it was her, and then she realized by Kenya's body language that she was talking about Tanya. And I don't know why they had Marlo there. Marlo, I guess she's supposed to be Nene's stunt double. I'm assuming she's just so unnecessary and loud, and she just adds this really kind of fake, disingenuine type energy to the room, in my opinion. Tanya said that she did feel like she was talking to her, Kenya was talking to her, but she also has a secret as well. Now, my whole point about bringing this up with Candy is that in this moment, everybody's like, Candy, you so quiet, what do you have to say about it? And she was like, well, I'm not really sure. I don't know what's going on. So she doesn't let on about Cookiegate. She doesn't even hint about Cookiegate. Now, I don't know if she had more opinion, more information about Snakegate than she did about Cookiegate, but she never said a word about Cookiegate, but she didn't mind telling Snakegate, right? So you hear now, you say nothing. Mom is the word. But you do gather the tea about Kenya's wig. So obviously you have this loyalty to Kenya that allows you to hold off on any bone collecting as it pertains to her, which is weird because you've watched Kenya move real funny like for a while now. So let's move forward. And Tanya was like, well, the tea I have is that she left something at the hotel in Canada. She wanted me to bring it. It turns out it was a phone charger and a wig, a U-part. They talked all about what type of wig it was, and she must have been wearing it the whole time, and yada, yada, yada. And Marlo got a hold of it and was trying to put it on Tanya's head. And Tanya was like, absolutely not. Don't put nobody else's hair on my head. I was like, yeah, that's like trying on somebody's swimsuit, ain't it? Kind of a little bit. I say, especially if you don't know the wig wearer, Like, if you don't know the wig wearer, it's kind of like a swimsuit. So, you know, Candy was very defensive about Marlo playing around with the wig and put the wig back in the bag and all this stuff. And later, Candy goes to meet Kenya and Cynthia for lunch, and they get to talking about now. Cynthia lets us know right off Ripperty that she met with Tanya like a day earlier, a day after the spa, something like that, and let her know about Cookiegate. And so Tanya is fully aware. Now Kenya don't know that Tanya know. Let Cynthia tell it. That's fine. I guess we could say that was commendable of Cynthia, but still side-eyeing you, Cynthia. I don't know. She keeps getting into these relationships with friends that she seems like she's slightly afraid of, unless she's cornered. She doesn't really make a ruffle unless she's cornered. And it's weird to me because I don't know how you get to be that old and you still kind of jelly bag. Like, to me, it's weird. Anyway, y'all tell me what y'all think about that down below. But they get to talking about Kenya, you know, trying to, you know, hint to Tanya about Cookiegate, the Cookiegate situation, and how the conversation came about. So Tanya thinks that, you know, she was shading her Cookiegate. Tanya also mentioned that she had this small conversation with Kenya about IVF, in vitro fertilization, and the fact that she had an egg and she was still waiting and sitting on that egg. And Kenya was really trying to encourage Tanya to use the egg. Like, girl, what is you waiting on? There's no time like the present. You won't regret it. Do it. It seemed like it was a heartfelt moment. Excuse me, you guys. When Tanya brought it up, she brought it up like, I thought me and Kenya was cool. Now, we didn't know each other at all when she brought up the whole IVF situation and wanted to have that endearing talk with me. But at the same time, why would you then turn around and be shady about the whole Cookiegate situation? Sorry, you guys, the heat is on right above my head. So, you know, now when Kenya is telling it like she is just upset about the fact that I told her what she needed to do with her egg. And Cynthia was like, well, I don't think that's the case. Probably the whole Cookiegate situation. Well, she was saying, I never told her, oh, I didn't hint to her, and how could she tell us this has got to be about the IVF? And then, of course, Candy told her about the fact that she revealed the wig, and Kenya felt like it was all this big conspiracy about IVF. Now, Candy says nothing to Tanya about Cookiegate. But she takes all of the tea, all of the conversation, all of the energy from J. Juice back to Cynthia and Kenya. Yeah, so apparently Candy picks and chooses which bones she's going to drop off from all her fabulous collection. Later on, we see where all the ladies go to have pizza, and this pizza party is really basically for Eva and her baby Marley, who's her first baby. You guys know Eva has 3 kids. Marley father is by a gentleman I think his name is Kevin McCall, and he has just proven himself to be, at least from a social media standpoint, certainly I don't know the guy, so this is all allegedly, but he does come across as an individual that is a bit unstable. And I don't know all of the ins and outs in terms of why he had his parental rights taken from him. And it's just crazy because I just see him on social media and I can see that he's unstable, you know, and at least he comes across as unstable. So for Eva's husband Michael to decide that he is going to adopt baby Marley, and give her his last name, she wants his last name. Eva wants this. Turns out Michael was adopted, and this is really important to him. He's known the child since she was 15 months old. They really feel like she's really the only father that he's really the only father that she knows. It's unfortunate because giving someone your name and having a child that has your name, that's like a continuation of your legacy. This little girl who has half of your DNA will no longer carry your name, will no longer consider herself your child. Like, I don't know how he feels about it, but I know personally I would be devastated. It's a sad situation. It's a bittersweet situation because Michael is doing the right thing and taking complete and utter responsibility for this individual. I can see that it's a very emotional thing for Eva. They come outside. They've left the courthouse, and she's reading it out loud, and she is emotional. She just reading it. I'm sure all of the feelings that I'm feeling, she's probably feeling that and more. But I think she really feels like she did what was right. They both did what was right for Marley and Marley's future. And she hugs him and she thanks him and he says you're welcome, and it's just this moment where they're both emotional. This is the second emotional scene that we have and in this episode, and it's wonderful, but at the same time it's a little sad. So they have this pizza party, and I think everyone came. I don't think Brooklyn was there with Kenya, but Candy brought Ace and all of Eva's friends and their children, and Portia and Pilar, I think, came. Tanya was there. And this is when all the conversation came out about not only Tanya feeling as though Kenya was talking to her. Candy lets on about that conversation. She tells about the conversation she had with Cynthia and those. She tells about the whole Cookie Gate situation and about the fact that she told about the wig and Kenya was upset about it. And Tanya was like, well, it was wig, no big deal. She was trying to drop tea on me. I dropped some tea on her. And they kidded with her about being, part of the Petty Betty committee. I think she did it way more eloquently than Kenya could ever do it. I don't think she was being vicious. I think she was being mischievous and, of course, petty. But the stuff that Kenya is doing, it's just whatever. So let's just finally talk about Kenya, and then we'll be done with this. Kenya, of course, when she finds out about the whole wig gate situation and, the fact that Tanya showed the wig, it's like, for me, if you come to her, if she comes to you and anything she does, trying to reveal ruining Cynthia's surprise, some of the things that she did in Phaedra and Apollo's relationship. I mean, there's been a whole series of things that she has done. That whole march in on Marlo's event with a two-man band. Come showing up with her booty out. Like, all of these things is supposed to be in good fun, and I was just kidding, and it's not that serious, and you're overreacting and let it go, and I didn't, and not me, and all of this stuff. She wants you to release it, to take it with a grain of salt. It's just all, kicks and giggles and whatnot. Tanya revealing the fact that she had a wig on, she takes as a personal character assassination via IVF. Just like the whole situation with Eva. You take this little conversation and now you're going to wage complete and utter war with Eva and return the doll with Eva. Like anything someone says, you feel like you were attacked. You just, I mean, it's like, oh, I've been attacked. You know, you go into this whole thing. Well, no, this is what I think she did. This is why Cynthia was like, no, it's not that serious. But the fact that you would even hint at her relationship, which has been many, many years, Paul and Tanya have a long history relationship. Like, it did not deserve for you to try to take a crap on it. You know, in a 45 to an hour lunch, you want to take a dig at her relationship. Like, what? Yeah, you better be glad she stopped at your wig, because your body is weird. Now, people say her body is banging, but to me, some of it looks like it's rock. Some of it looks like it's stone. Some of it looks like it's flesh and blood. I don't know. She seems like amalgamation of things, in my opinion. Just like, Kenya, come on. Come on. So now you waging war with Tanya. Even though that's something you started, Tanya wouldn't have came for you at all. It wouldn't even been a conversation if you hadn't came for Tanya and her relationship. So, but we're going to see her get her comeuppance next week. Y'all tell me what you think. Y'all put it down below. What did y'all think about this whole situation with Portia and Dennis? I really, really hope that Dennis is not out here wilding out on Portia and their family again. If so, I just feel like, you know, I pray that Portia has the strength to move on from it. But I'm going to trust and believe right now that Dennis is not out here doing these things, that it's not what it looks like, until I know a little bit more about it. But I say shout out to Portia. She is definitely speaking up for what it is that she wants and what it is that she needs from this man. Okay, and she, you guys can say whatever you want to say about her not being necessarily bright. She does know how to articulate her feelings, and she does know how to stand for herself. This relationship that she has with Dennis is very, very different from the one she had with Cordell Stewart. That relationship she had with Cordell Stewart, it was about her being submissive. She did not have a voice at all. He was very, very demonstrative. He appeared to be very demonstrative to her, and aggressive, verbally aggressive, and to her in their relationship. And she's at a place now where she's just like, no, shine the light on it. Let's talk about it. Let's expose it. Let me just tell you what's really up with me, how I really feel about the situation. She's no longer hiding in the shadows. And I would dare say that Dennis is the kind of individual that it can do the work. Can do the work to really, really work and on their relationship and their family. So you guys tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you think about the whole Candy situation. Like, I just feel like maybe she's not as close to Tanya as she is to Kenya, but you know, she's always prided herself on right is right, wrong is wrong. So I'm not sure why you didn't tell Tanya about the Kenya gate. Cynthia had to tell her. Y'all tell me what you think. Put it down below. Until next time, honeybees.